All right, welcome to part 2 of food webs and energy pyramids. We've already gone over the basic food web and the energy pyramid that goes with it. And I put 6 trophic levels, and then I had a young man point out that there was at least one path where you would wind up with 7 trophic levels. For instance, if you went from mangoes to fruit fly, to dragonfly, to thrush, to wolf, to python, and finally to eagle, that's 7. But we'll just leave it the way it is for right now, even though there's technically a couple more things we could add. Okay, so the first question we have is the wolf a predator, meaning something that kills and eats something else? Is it prey, something that gets eaten, or is it both? Okay, if you look at the wolf, there are arrows coming to the wolf, meaning that the wolf is eating the rats. The wolf is eating the thrush. Okay, so the wolf is a predator of both the thrush and the rat. But there is also arrows pointing away from the wolf, towards the eagle and towards the python. So the wolf is also prey, and I would wager that probably it's going to be more likely that wolf cubs, small baby wolves, are going to be more subject to prey for both of these guys than a grown wolf. But anyway, they are both predator and prey, according to the food web. Okay, so question number 2. Which organisms eat rats? Okay, rats are consumed by the wolf, the python, and the eagle. Okay, do not count this one because that is what the rat is eating, grasshoppers. Number 3, if there were no grasshoppers, how would this affect rats? Well, considering that according to the food web, grasshoppers are pretty much the only thing that the rats are eating, if there were no grasshoppers, this is going to have a very detrimental effect on the rats. It would probably do them in, at least according to this food web. It's possible that rats eat things other than grasshoppers, but according to this food web, that's their only food source. So if that was the case, then the rats would cease to exist eventually anyway, because they would starve if there were no grasshoppers. Number 4, what foods does the thrush eat? The thrush is right here. This is a bird. A lot of birds like insects. They are insectivores, in other words. The thrush is eating dragonflies and fruit flies. Okay? The thrush is being eaten by eagles and wolves. Okay? But the question is, what foods does the thrush eat? And that would be the dragonfly and the fruit fly. Number 5 asks you to name an autotroph from the food web. Remember that producers are autotrophs. They're synonyms. They mean the same thing, basically. Okay, so you can name either corn, flowering plant, lavender, or mangoes. Number 6, if butterflies disappear, what happens to frogs? All right, here are your butterflies. If butterflies disappear, it's going to have a detrimental effect on the frog, but it's not going to be as devastating as it was for the rats when we lost the grasshoppers. Why? Because according to the food web, the frog has more than one food source. It eats grasshoppers, butterflies, fruit flies, and dragonflies. So if one food source is taken out of the food web, the population may decrease a little bit because food's a little bit more scarce, but it still has some feeding options. So you're not going to see the frogs disappear altogether. Okay. Notice that I did not actually go and write down the answers, so hopefully you will have listened so that you can write them down yourself. And that should do it. This should be a good walkthrough for both trophic levels, energy pyramids, and food webs.